Garden, where the reign of terror of Monica Seles may continue in the second set. She won the first 6-1.
She's got new balls right now. That might account for why that ball went into the net. Steffi only won on her own serve. She only won 2 points on her own second serve, and that just emphasizes how good the return is of Monica. It's incredible what Monica is doing. She's hitting straight down the line, and then the most amazing angles. Look at this angle. Look at how far out of court Steffi has to go. I mean, Monica can hit that any which way she pleases.
15 all. We're beginning the second set.
Well, that was the first time Steffi really moved forward and half-volleyed the return. That was Mike Crispino's advice. Oh, I think that was... He didn't actually say that, but I think it was a suggestion. Oh, that's a good try.
Break point. The first one that this woman, Steffi Graf, has peered at.
Wasn't a bad return.
No.
The ball was staying low, it was hard. And Monica treated it with disdain, like everything else.
Another chance for Graf with a breaker. Gee, what a serve.
104.
104 miles per hour. That's the biggest she's struck in this tournament.
Oh, what a shot from Monica. I mean, I think Steffi's got to stay away from the backhand a little bit.
Monica's backhand, that's the shot on the right side of her body for this double-hander, is a flame. The first game of the second set has gone to Monica, as has the first set. New game for Steffi Graf. Losing the first set 6-1, having 2 break points to start the second set and not cashing one of them. So she really needs to hold to reassert herself. She's only held serve once. That is in the third game of the match. Graf lost her serve right away to start it.
Quick look at the first set. Look at that. Seles 80% practically of first serves, and they're good. Unforced errors, only a handful. Winners, more off the backhand side for Monica, none for Steffi. That's about the first time that Steffi's actually been able to stretch Monica. Outbeat her with the depth and just take away the time for Monica to get there.
30 love. Love, I think the umpire misstated that.
And a couple of returns in this game that have gone long off Monica's racket.
Ace! And that's the first of the match, and that encourages the Graf fanatics in the crowd. And so Steffi, for the first time, stays even. She was down 2 love right away when we started, never caught up.
Steffi not at all happy with that slice return, but you see, of course, that's the joy for a left-hander. You can serve with that nasty left-handed slice and just dig away at somebody's backhand. If you think about Steffi in some of the matches where she really has struggled, it's been against people who've got that left-handed serve. It was Patty Schneider at the U.S. Open.
Right.
And Steffi just ended up, you know, her return started disintegrating.
Well, they're both comeback kids, and Steffi talks about the response to this present comeback of hers.
Before I had my injuries, already at that point, I felt that people were becoming so much more supportive of me, and I think respecting for what I've done for so many years, and just the recognition has increased by so much, I think, for being around for so long. And I think everybody then realized that I've had a pretty long layoff, and everybody wanted me to come back. I mean, I didn't expect it. I mean, I didn't think that I would get that kind of response.
Well, she's a phoenix in sneakers, Steffi Graf, and I think she realizes how much she loves the game and how much people love her.
I know. I think to begin with, she didn't really need the response of the public. She was just so driven to be a great tennis player herself. And I think that gave her a bit of coolth and that the public didn't respect. I think that's going to be pulled out.
And a break point for Graf. She had 2 in the first game. Hasn't made one yet.
And you see tremendous applause here for Steffi. It'll be interesting to see which way the crowd does swing, because they both have a lot of affection for these two. I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean.
And with the 11th stroke, Steffi Graf finally feels she is in the same ballpark. She leads 2 games to 1 in the second set, having lost the first. Side of Manhattan, but the center of the tennis world at this moment, Steffi Graf has counter-punched effectively. Won Seles' serve for the first time, leads 2-1 in the second set. And Bud Collins with Virginia Wade, Mike Crispino. Oh. It is long.
Good point.
And here's how Steffi Graf got to the quarterfinals. Jana Novotná, the defending champion, the Wimbledon champion, but it was Steffi in 3. And Monica had a tough time, too. It was straight sets, but she was aided greatly by 17 double faults from Anya Kournikova.
So subtle the difference that's come over these last few games. A couple more errors from Monica Seles, and also a few more low slices from Steffi to Monica's forehand, and that is the one shot she's not all that comfortable with it.
Graf got to the net frequently against Novotná in the opening round, but it's been Seles. They're better at the net, not much of it, but looking pretty good when she gets up there.
I just don't see how you can get up to the net against Monica, except on rare occasions. That wasn't a very good serve from Steffi there.
And Steffi right back in the rough. 2 break points.
Actually, that basic heavy slice from Steffi cross-court can actually hurt Monica.
Kept the ball very low to her forehand. Still break point. So Monica strikes back 2 games all.
Well, this is such a typical Steffi Graf point. She comes into the net and doesn't get into position. She has such a perfect backhand to make a backhand slice approach. But when you pulled up that far wide, you can't go as much cross-court as she did. You leave a huge opening.
Monica started coming here in 1989 as a 15-year-old, lost to Martina Navratilova. After winning a match, then she rang up 13 straight victories and 3 titles.
And those were the years, or a couple of those were the years that she won 3 of the 4 Grand Slams, 91 and 92. Has never won Wimbledon. Got to the final one.
Final once, and it was interesting. She lost that to Graf. And that was the final where she was kind of conned out of it, I thought, by the players who complained about her grunting. She was still a very young woman, and she thought, well, I'll try not to grunt. And she tried not to grunt, and there was nothing behind the non-grunt.
Well, that was exactly what happened, and it was a rainy final, too, but it was actually Natalie Tozier who started
it, yeah.
Complaining about Monica's grunting. And she got so self-conscious.
Just long.
Just
40-30.
And but which was the year that she won here? And oh well, we're just going to listen to a little bit of the grunt, see if it drives us crazy or not.
I wonder if I could get a voice coach. Might help my game. And she evens up the aces. 1-all, and Monica's still moaning and moving. Who are not afraid to run around the court. That should interest my colleagues at the Sports Business Journal. They like to talk about millionaires. They're watching down in Charlotte, North Carolina, I know. Now, how can you make a return like that?
Oh, she went the wrong way.
The easy shot she missed.
Uh-oh.
Well, Steffi, look at that. 3 titles here. 5 titles here, excuse me. I don't count very well, Virginia. I got up to 3, and then they took it off.
She beat all manner of opponents. Navratilova, Sanchez-Vicaria, Sabatini. These are the finals I'm talking about. Hingis last year. No, not last year. 2 years ago.
2 years ago in the final. She didn't play last year out with injuries. But this is her 40th match at the Garden. She has won 32.
This year, she was planning a vacation. Suddenly revved up at the end of the last 2 tournaments, which she won, and got in. Canceled the vacation.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that backhand. I mean, she was hooked so badly, she nearly took off Robin Finn's head in the press row to make the return. Look at that, to make the return, and then she should not win with this shot, but she does. She's the most ungainly, in a sense, player, and yet the balance is perfect, even though it doesn't look so great.
Oh, I think that's fair.
There's no doubt that these are two of the greatest players of all time. There's no doubt of that. Both will be in the International Tennis Hall of Fame at Newport when it's all over for them. And I hope that's a long time off.
Well, at the top of the show, you were saying, well, these yesterday's players, they're yesterday's, today's, and tomorrow's players. I mean, these two are...
I look for a wonderful, unfettered 1999 for both of them. Had their problems, and let's hope those problems are behind.
Huge point, this. 30-all. I think that's better play, actually, from Steffi to go more to the forehand of Monica Seles, and then if she gets an opening, then go for the big one, cross-court.
So Steffi hangs in. 3 games all. And on that last time that Monica served, closing with an ace, a Rado rocket. Rado people time it. That was 108 miles per hour. But the Garden record for this year is 109 by Mighty Mary Pierce, who remains a very definite contender for this title.
That she does. On the line, that ball. Oh.
Not many UEs for Monica, but that was one of them. Inside out, a winner.
Perhaps Steffi is getting a little smoother. She's not feeling quite under so much pressure. Because that was a good shot there. And it was sort of pre-thought out, not just having to react to this immense barrage she's being faced with.
Love 30. Got the sideline.
On the line.
Boy, you talk about smart bombs. That backhand, but umpire Leanne White does not honor the request of Steffi Graf for an overrule.
We're an awful long way away.
And
But
she shouldn't. I mean, that's too close.
I can't be sure on it.
Umpire says she can't be sure, so you cannot overrule if you cannot be sure.
it might have started off touching the line and finishing outside the line. But the calls have been better tonight.
30-15. 15-30. 15-30.
Lindsay Davenport hit one that was further out yesterday than that and was called in.
It happens. These are tough courts to call on, these carpets. I think the officiating has been quite good. Oops. And here's a break point.
And a broken string.
Broken string and break points following.
Not exactly in the middle of the racket, but that's where they generally break. They move around a little bit more at the top, the strings in the racket, because of the topspin. Almost even. Was that a 13 or an 18? I don't know, 8 and not more than.
Well, the jamming serve, but break point situation remained.
So that was interesting. 18 unforced errors for Seles and only 12 for Graf. Score wouldn't indicate that.
She's into the lead once again for the second time. Second set, 4-3. Graf. Button, as we would say in Boston. Now Graf, can she consolidate?
Oh, what a return. What can you do? It wasn't a shabby serve. You know, Steffi must know that the longer she keeps this match going on, the more it will favor her, knowing that Monica has limited strength and there was stamina on the other side because of her virus. I mean, I think Monica, as far as I know, was feeling all right today, but it was 3 days of disheartening stuff.
A rumor running around the garden that she wasn't going to play tonight. I don't know where that started. Could have showed you Mark's brother Dion.
That is so good. I can't tell you how hard it is when a ball is sliced with that much underspin. This one to change direction, this next one, and to go down the line.
It's Thursday, and we got a couple of Sunday punchers.
Very good. That is terrific stuff.
So break points, a string of them against Graf.
Monica quite puffed though by that rally. I mean, look, Steffi isn't even breathing heavily at all. Monica really somewhat out of breath. Just that.
And they're even once more. 4 games all.
And that was just a superior game for Monica Seles. Now it gets interesting.
Seles the leader, 6-1, 4-all, quarterfinal of the Chase Championships. Graf has been in trouble all the way. She lost her serve to open the match. She was down 2-love, and she didn't get anywhere. It was 6-1. Then she broke Seles to lead 2-1, but every time she breaks, Seles breaks back. And so it's 4-all. Two recovering kids. 2 surgeries this year for Graf, knee and wrist. Seles with the emotional blows, death of her father. And she has had a couple of injuries too. Didn't play the Australian, nor did Steffi. Seles with hardly any practice got to the finals of the French, reappearing on the scene, undecided about playing after a father died. Net court.
Well, I think Steffi was a little lucky there. Monica needs to wrap this match up, though. The longer it goes, the worse she's going to feel.
So you say it's Monica in 2 if she wins. If it goes 3, it's Graf.
I think so. They've usually had so many close matches, and this is exceptional for Monica to just have come out of the gate as quickly as she did. shot.
Line, yes. On the strike. 15-30.
And that looked like a comparatively easy shot for Steffi. But it was one of the few shorter balls she's had. Most of them have been just pinned in the corner. You know, although Monica is a set up, there's a lot of hard work to do still finishing off this match.
And 2 break points in Monica's face.
Little venture up to the net to try to cut the point short.
Looked like a good play, too, but the approach long. And so Graf will have a chance to get even when we return. She leads 5-4, but can she hang on to the slippery serve? Dandies, and they're all for Graf as she serves for parity. She has worked her way back from a 6-1 drubbing, although she didn't play badly in the first set. She has gone ahead on serve in the second 3 times, but has not been able on the first 2 to capitalize.
And did you hear that applause?
Four for Graf.
That is a good point. Steffi hit a winner down the line off the forehand side before, and she didn't look as if it was the most comfortable shot. This time she's got a little more confidence.
15 love.
I always think it's a real indicator of how well she's playing when she does hit that forehand, when she's out wide to the right and she hits it down the line. She so much prefers to go cross court. She's had twice as many winners off the forehand in this set as she did in the first.
It's long.
She'll be annoyed with herself for missing that.
Steffi plays like she's on the run from the FBI. It is so fast.
And she's comparatively slow compared with how she used to be.
Got it.
It's gutsy play here from Steffi. She's beginning to calm down her mind and think what she has to do. She's managing to get around a few forehands.
30-15.
She stayed in this match, to her credit. I mean, it was tremendous pressure from the other side of the net.
Nope. Set point.
Well, against Jana Novotná, Steffi outlasted her. Played such a tough match until it was Novotná who was physically spent.
Cramped in her calves. And there it is. This match is dead even. These two illustrious champions will play one set to see who goes into the semis of the chase.